Why did Liam Gallagher's band after Oasis, Beady Eye, fail? Now, when I say fail, I don't mean like it was a complete waste of time, obviously, but it didn't end up being what they expected. It didn't end up being the next Oasis, the second coming of the success of Oasis, which I'm presuming Liam Gallagher presumed it would be. I think Liam was very frustrated by the departure of Noel. I think that Beady Eye came from a bitter place. He formed that band out of wanting to prove that he could do it without Noel. I feel like Beady Eye was the wrong band at the wrong time because they seemingly rushed into it because they just basically said, well, we don't want Oasis to end. Let's ignore what's happened with Noel. Let's ignore this massive fallout, not process it, and just carry on. Basically, try and do Oasis, but not Oasis. And just with all this baggage, just release this. And no wonder it just didn't really work. One of the main reasons I think Beady Eye failed is it didn't feel fresh. It just felt like they were trying to do Oasis round two. Obviously, it was the same members, Liam Gallagher, Andy Bell, Jem Archer, but missing that key component of Noel Gallagher. So it felt like an Oasis imitation. It didn't feel. It felt like Oasis, but not Oasis. I feel like people were looking at the band and Liam Gallagher had to eat some humble pie and realise that Noel Gallagher meant a lot more than he thought. And I think people could just see through the reason he was doing it. And I think they carried on out of defiance. If no Liam Gallagher had gone around and looked for different members. Now, I'm a fan of Andy Bell and Jem Archer, but it didn't feel like it was moving on, it was fresh or it was interesting. It just felt like out of defiance to Noel, let's carry on. And it might have helped Liam Gallagher to just find an entirely new band and spend some time away from the spotlight. I think he did this too fast. And, eventually he obviously ended up in his solo career, which felt much better. And I've got to be honest about Beady Eye, the songs just weren't there. There were no massive singles. Now, the albums, Different Gear Still Speeding from 2011 and BE from 2013, did well. They made it to the top 5, but there was no big singles. And if anything, Oasis are known as, some people call them a singles band. I don't agree with that. But they're known for those massive singles that are all over radio, that are ingrained in your mind, that are memorable. And sadly, Beady Eye didn't really have any memorable songs. It almost felt like, again, Liam Gallagher was trying to, out of defiance, write something that wasn't meant to be catchy in a way because he was angry at Oasis ending. He wanted to do something that was rock and roll, but he didn't really want to carry on the Noel and Liam legacy. And I genuinely think it would have worked if Liam just went, right, I'm just going to try and write the catchiest songs I can. If the goal was to outsmart Noel, Liam probably should have done what he did now, which is write some pretty great catchy songs. But it almost felt like every Beady Eye song was a snooze fest. There are some good Beady Eye songs. Millionaire's a good song. Standing on the Edge of the Noise, I think is a very good song. On Different Gear Still Speeding. Four Letter Word's good. Second Bite of the Apple's good. But ultimately, man, Beady Eye did not have the songs at all. And they also had a dated style. Now, I don't know what they were going for, because obviously Oasis, they had this rock and roll 60s and 70s, even 80s, but they also had an edge to them. They felt fresh, even though they were very much obviously influenced. They felt fresh. Beady Eye didn't feel fresh. It almost felt like took away Oasis's edge and just literally leaned into the 60s and 70s rock and roll, but not even the best of that era. Just like a mediocre band from the 60s and 70s. There was nothing unique about Beady Eye. It felt like Liam and co wallowing in their influences instead of being inspired. And I think the looming presence of Oasis was just dooming Beady Eye. That massive cataclysmic success, which I think Liam took for granted until recently. I feel like in recent years in his solo career, he's finally been able to take it all in and realise it. Whereas here it was just carry on. Don't worry about this, this massive Don't let Oasis, the legacy set in, just carry on and try and make it about Beady Eye. It just was the wrong decision. Liam needed to get humble. You know, I really feel like the failure of Beady Eye opened up Liam's eyes. It made him realise that he's a flawed person. He's not this amazing, untouchable rock star. It made him realise he has to actually put some effort into what he's doing. He can't just ride on the coattails of Oasis. It made him come back swinging with his solo stuff, which is great. You know, you look back at Beady Eye and you watch interviews, Liam didn't seem confident. He just felt like he was there. It felt like just another rock and roll band. He felt like just another rock and roll singer. And now when you see him with his solo career and back up on the stage, he feels like the most exciting rock star on earth again. And that's great. Because he's got back his humble nature. You know, he's got back that genuine guy who made the Oasis songs. Beady Eye could play the exact same songs that Liam is playing now on his solo stuff when they're around, and it just wouldn't have captivated the same way because something was missing, and it was Liam eating some humble pie, really.
He had to get off his arse and actually get up and pick your guitar up, you know, start writing, and Liam can write some fucking songs.
As much as Liam said at the time he just wanted to move abroad, find somewhere, live a quiet life, I knew that if he did that, that would just be temporary anyway, because I knew that he would never be happy unless he was back singing and performing. Whenever he was off guard, he would pick up a guitar or he'd be singing. He just starts playing a few chords and then sees what comes out and then works on it from there.
I generally think it's time for Noel Gallagher to eat some humble pie, and it's been many years too late. I think Liam, you know, he fell after Beady Eye and he regained his confidence and his passion, and, you know, he got humble. Noel needs to do that now. You need to eat some humble pie, Noel. Your mum needs to make you some humble pie. He has taken Oasis for granted. I really think he has. I think he needs to realise that Oasis is important. The reunion is important. The solo stuff that they do will never be what Oasis was. And I think it took Liam realising that Beady Eye is not gonna be Oasis. And I think he now realises, look, I'm gonna go on stage, I'm gonna celebrate Oasis. Even though I do solo stuff now, it's all about Oasis really with Liam. It's all about being happy about that legacy. I don't think you could say the same for Noel, obviously. So why do you guys think that Beady Eye didn't do as well as Oasis? And that's an understatement. Basically, the band failed. Why do you think that was? What do you think of Beady Eye? You know, what are some favourite songs of that band? Do you think they're underrated? Check out my Beady Eye album reviews on the screen now. I reviewed these albums a while back. Not the biggest fan of Beady Eye, but there are some decent stuff on these albums, so they're worth checking out, and check out my reviews, obviously. Please consider subscribing if you're an Oasis and British rock fan just like me, and I will see you guys in the next video.